welcome to Now It's Debatable. This is your host, Fantastic Facade, and I am back as producer for the show. I have been away for nearly a month now, but I'm back, not in a hotel, and today, instead of doing normal, just have somebody on and let's debate, someone recommended we do a hangout session and just chat and chill, and literally Triboulet and I talking and deciding to record it one day is how this podcast came about. So here we are. Welcome if you're watching, and if you want to jump in, there's a link. In fact, give me a second and I will make it really easy for anyone that wants to join, because I'm going to do something I don't normally do. Let's see.
Are you gonna post it in the chat?
Well, not only that, but I'm going to just share the link and put it up on the screen.
What up, Dan?
How's
If you
it
want to
going,
come on the show, bro, we're about to share the link, bro. You can just hop in and you can tell us why we suck or why we're great, or you too, Phantom. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's
This
up?
was your idea.
This was your idea.
Yeah.
Let me grab that link. Copy. So, a few things now.
You got the link?
I got the link, and
Word.
the link's now... Oh, it won't let me enter it in the chat because it's too long.
Why
Just...
don't you put it in the description?
I can, but I don't think I can edit the description live.
I can do it. Give me 1 second. Wait a minute. Hey, yo, the one that I posted, it's not working from Facebook. Did you use the same link?
I did.
Word?
Yeah. Click the people button on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And click add people.
And
you're
people.
The host.
Nothing's coming up. Like, I can't click that.
Is there not an add people button?
No, it's not a button.
Hang on.
But what I can do is I can go to the invite and pull the link that way.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do right now. I got you.
I believe that's it in chat.
Boom. Yep. That ought to work.
Yeah. And then I'm going to make it really easy and throw it up on the screen here as well.
And I'll put it in the description as well.
That way, if anybody wants to join, no excuses.
Yep. Hi, guys. Link is now in the description. So if you want to join. Dude, yeah, have you been keeping up with the Russian and hold on? Did somebody try to join the chat?
I don't know. You're the one that has to approve.
Someone wants to join the call. Admit.
Yo. It's Phantom.
What's going on, Phantom?
Hey, how's it going?
Chilling, man. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's been a minute since you've been on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yo, I like to talk to you about the anarchy thing. I guess you were in complete disagreement with me for the most part, right?
Oh man.
Unless you had something else you wanted to try to tackle.
Oh, I don't care. Whatever you guys want to talk about. I mean, we don't even have to have a deep discussion. We can talk about like trans rights or something.
Sure, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
He said anything like trans rights.
One of those easy topics to just knock out in a few minutes.
Yeah, something simple.
But no,
I don't remember. You'd have to remind me of some of the stuff I was saying about anarchy.
Well, I know. I think everybody was against. So I was pretty much saying let's just get rid of the government altogether.
Sure.
Because like I don't see like there most of the things even I guess the problems that he was saying the government could solve, they aren't problems that the free market couldn't solve. I think there was one comment I read from, I think it was Canadian Atheist. He had said that I think he said something like get rid of the government, so no one to take off the trash, no one to do blah blah blah, etc. It was a few things he had listed, and I remember, and I was thinking, I was like, the trash, like I didn't have time to tackle it right then, but what's ironic is that the government, at least in nowhere that I've lived, and I've lived in a bunch of different places, nowhere that I live, that's the government take out the trash. They contract that work out to the free market.
Yeah, but it's the
Sure.
government that's paying for that contract. I think that's probably what people were thinking.
Right, but the point is that like since the government it's the free market that's taking out the trash. They're just
Well,
the
sort of,
government
they're
is
getting paid
paying
by
the
government.
free market
Well,
to do it.
Well, but the free market's only going to do it if they're paid, right?
Right.
So the
And-
government is the one that's paying them.
Right, but we don't need the government to do it. Like you could do it. So for instance, me and Facade, we used to be roommates in Lynchburg, right? And so in Lynchburg, this is like it's in Central Virginia, and so you have to pay the city this fee, and they give you the sticker, right? And so Facade had the idea. He photoshopped the sticker from somebody else and stuck it on our trash can. We're getting like free trash for a little bit, but. So it was saving us some money.
Crimes.
But what I'm saying, but in that case, we were paying the city who would pay the private company to take out the trash. I don't see why we couldn't just pay the private company to take out the trash. Like you value your trash being picked up, right?
Yeah, but so what about someone who doesn't?
Well, if they don't value their trash being picked up, then I guess they can leave the trash in their house. I mean, you could do that now. Like I don't have to take out my trash. I can just leave it in my house, and
Right.
it'll be it'll be stinking and stuff. But what I'm saying is, but it's not like that's for people who want it. That service wouldn't disappear just because the government vanished.
Sure.
The
So
free market does it now.
So what about things like so with no anarchy or with anarchy, no government,
Mm-hmm.
are there laws?
Well, so not in a sense. So when we talk about there are rules, but laws work a little different. So rules come into play with ownership. Like if you own something, you have the right to make a law about it. But
Okay.
if you don't own it, then you can't make a rule governing it, right? And so laws are the idea that people can make rules over things they don't own. Like for instance, like if you invited me over to your house one day, and you said like one of the rules was I have to take off my shoes or something. Like I got a really close Asian friend, and like every once in a while, man, that looks just like your penis, which you have on your
Oh, sorry.
whatever it is. But yeah, so the rule is for me to take off my shoes, right? If I didn't do that, he kindly or maybe not so kindly tell me to leave, right? And he gets to do that because it's his house.
Uh-huh.
The idea of laws is that he could say you have to take off the shoes in your house, not just to come in my house, but to go in your house. So here's some property. I don't own it. I have no and what's done with it, whether it's sold, whether it's taken care of or not, but I get to make rules over it. And that's what laws do. And so with an anarchy, there'd still be rules, but it would be tied to ownership. So if you don't own it, you couldn't make a rule over it.
All right. And so ownership is a social contract.
Well, I'd fight you on that.
Oh yeah, you think think ownership is intrinsic?
Well, I don't think it's. I'm not gonna say it's. I'm not gonna say it's intrinsic, but I don't think it's a social contract. Like I don't like, for instance, like I own my arm, I own my body, and there's not a social contract that's required for that.
Sure,
You
there
know,
is.
so if for people to respect it, sure, but
Right. That's
it,
but you don't own anything if people don't respect that.
well, I would say I would own it. It would say just that my rights are being violated. Like it's still
Okay.
my body.
But
Like even if somebody does something to it that I don't want them to do,
sure.
and it's still mine. I still own it. They
Okay.
may take it from me.
But your house isn't your body.
Yeah, and I would say even if someone was taking it against my will, like I would still have ownership in that house. I don't think that's a social contract. I don't agree with social contracts at all. Like I dismiss that altogether because I think like any sort
Like
of go ahead.
so you don't agree that like you don't agree with them as being a thing, or you don't think they should be a thing.
Well, I don't think both. Like I disagree with them in principle, and I also I think is well obviously is made up. I mean, like everything we're talking about, everything we're talking about is kind of made up. But for me, social contracts are the idea that by merely existing in a certain place, you've agreed implicitly to follow some rules, and I don't think that's how things work. Like agreements to especially like to follow some sort of like rule that takes consent. So like I didn't agree to pay taxes by merely existing in the United States.
Okay.
That's how a lot of people, that's how a lot of statists, that's what we anarchists call people who believe in government, statists. That's how statists get around the consent thing. They'll say you did consent, social contract.
Okay.
That,
Well, okay, I didn't mean it's a social construct. That's what I meant.
you said social construct.
I said contract, but I meant social construct.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess they take some time to think about, but
Well, so let me let me put it this way. Here's why I say it's a social construct.
okay.
Does an ant think you own your house?
Say that one more time.
Does an ant think you own your house?
No, he doesn't. Probably doesn't even. Yeah, probably doesn't.
Only humans think you own your house, and they only do so because that's the social construct of ownership.
Sure, I agree with that.
Okay, so without some kind of like framework for that, you'd have to come up with a framework for that in your anarchic system to make sure that ownership is a thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you just get some guy that says, you know what? I like your house and I'm stronger than you and I have more guns or whatever. So now your house is mine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that for the most part. And so like you'll definitely like there's gonna have to be society is gonna have to figure that out. I don't think you need a government for that. So government takes away people's responsibility of figuring these things out. What the government is like, hey, instead of us talking this through and using our noggins to figure this out, we're going to create some organization, give them a monopoly on the use of force, and they're just going to force their will on everybody else. That's essentially what government is.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and there was a few people saying in the chat that they I think it was it's a female. I don't remember her name. I never saw her in the chat before, but she was saying that we have some sort of say over what government does. And I don't know. Is that your position? Do you think we have a say?
Only so much as we can like, in here in the U.S. at least, only so much as we are able to vote who is in the government.
Yeah, that's what, and that's my thing.
And there are like certain laws that like we directly vote on, but only so much as that.
Yeah, right.
like where I live, I think I could actually like propose a law and do a public vote. I think that's a process that's available in my state. So I mean, like that's the thing that can happen, but only so much as that's the case. Do we have a say in what the government does? And there is also always the option, if enough people say we don't like what the government's doing, we can have an insurrection, and overthrow the government.
Well, maybe. They can try.
I'm not saying I with enough people you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't say that count as having a say, because to that extent, like everybody has a say. Like North Korea, they have a say. The people have a say in the government, and if we're going to use that argument, they could overthrow the government. I mean, you probably won't, because they've been brainwashed for decades. But my thing is, like, unless like you're at the local or at some state levels, like where you can vote on referendums, the vast majority of things, people have no say over in their government. And for the most part, what we get to decide is who's in charge, but we have no say on what they do. And a lot of times when people say, like, we elect somebody, they say that they're going to do things. We elect them on a promise they make, and they can just break the promise, and there's nothing that we can do about it, unless they violate some sort of law. Like, there's literally like no recourse at all. Like there's nothing illegal for like Donald Trump, like he lies like the sun shines. Right? There's nothing illegal about him making a promise and then just deciding not to do it. And there's no recourse people have. The most they can do is not vote on him the next time around, which may or may not work. But you'll be stuck with him for 4 years, and that's pretty much how it works with just about all of our candidates, right? So we got like 2 years in the House, 6 years in the Senate, and then once they're in there, like, you have no say over them at all. In the anarchist system, the people have a much greater say, because we get to vote with our resources. We get to vote with our money. If the people at large, if the people decide they don't like something that the president's doing, it's just the way it is. They're stuck with it for 4 years. If they don't like something that McDonald's is doing, they can starve them out, and they can either risk going out of business or acquiesce to the will of their constituents, of their customers. And to me, I think that's having a much greater say than the government structure that we have now. And this is the, and I'm so, when we're talking about in the United States, I mean, I think this is like the best. In our country, we have more say than most people on other parts of the planet. You know what I mean? Like, at least a lot of people, they don't even get to say who's in charge. Aside from corruption, sometimes they're ruled by dictatorships, kings, and all that kind of stuff. So then Shire said, "Are you talking about any government or just the federal government?" So like, I'm an anarchist. I say like no government whatsoever. So I guess, I mean, to be more specific, like, I'm not necessarily anti-government. I am a voluntarist. So my belief is that any form of association, it has to be voluntary, or else it's immoral, ought not to be done. And I wouldn't even call it a justified immorality either.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you said it's immoral, it ought not be done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And
right.
So, yeah. And so provided that you care about being moral, then you should only have associations or relationships that are completely voluntary. And the government does not represent that. If you had a government that was totally voluntary, I'd be okay with that. So, like, as a voluntarist, like, I'd be okay with communism, as long as each party involved consented. So we talked about like we think about like a lot of the communist movements that happen all throughout the planet, like in Russia, right? You had the Great Leap Forward in China. The problem, it wasn't the fact that they were communists. So there's nothing intrinsic to communism that is destructive to the economy or to the human spirit. It's the fact that it was forced on people.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I can see what you're saying. I do agree to some extent that like consent would be better. I just don't think it's practical. I think you're going. I'm dubious about how practical it is to say it consent. We could develop a system where consent was possible, or only government by consent is possible.
Well, and so the problem is, I think we've gotten so used to just using force. We've gotten so used to fixing so we got so used to the answer that we always have being a hammer. And so now every question looks like a nail, you know? And I think we got to get out of that mentality. You know, like when we talk about anarchy, when we talk about like having like, or just getting rid of any sort of involuntary system, a lot of questions pop up. It's like, well, how do you solve this? How do you solve that? This and that and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, yes, these are good questions. Let's put our minds together and figure them out. And there's not always one correct solution, and sometimes the solution may change. But I mean, that's just the way things work, you know.
Hey, Finn, out of curiosity, what CAD software are you using?
This is Blender.
Blender. Do you know Captain Disillusion by chance?
Yeah, I've watched him.
Yeah,
he's a big Blender guy.
He is a big Blender guy. Good to know. He's also like a skepticist. I like him. He did a episode with James Randi not terribly long ago.
Yeah, he recently posted. He doesn't do very many videos anymore. It seems like
that's sad.
Yeah, but yeah, I like watching his videos.
He's super good at
it. Any of y'all keep up with the like the Russian-Ukraine situation?
I mean,
oh man, I do not pay attention to the news. When I do, I hate the world, and I don't like hating the world. So I decide not to do that.
The world. Yeah, I don't mind hating the world. So that's what we do.
Gotcha. In the Army Reserve, I'm an intel analyst, so I have to keep up with a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Oh sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of it could be solved by just getting rid of government altogether.
I mean, like I said, if you could figure out all how to make it work, I think any system of government can work but you got to figure it out. And
I guess what do you mean by work? Because I mean, I think North Korea works.
Right. I mean, yeah. So.
Because I mean, it runs. They get laws passed. Matter of fact, they get laws passed very efficiently because you don't have to waste time debating and going through, different branches of government. It's just one guy can just say a thing and bam, that's it.
Right. So I guess by work, I mean a balance of freedom and the balance between what I can and can't do. Mm-hmm. I guess is what I mean by work. There's a balance that I feel is like optimal, and I'm going off the top of my head because I never really thought about this, but so I'm just kind of.
Well, what would you think would be? What do you think would be like the balance of things you can and can't do? Like what should be ruled out? Like what should be forbidden?
I think forbidden should be. Well, I think forbidden should be. Optimally would be anything that harms someone else without their well, actually anything that affects someone else without their consent. Now that's like completely impossible because like
yeah, that leads straight to authoritarianism because I mean you could argue that just about anything someone does is going to have some effect on someone
yeah,
else. That's what I draw the line because like I think go ahead.
It's without their consent though. Like yeah, it can have an effect, but if they consent to it, that's not a problem.
So, and I would actually push back on that because like I could think of things that I could do that would be non-consensual that could do a great harm to you or someone else that I think would be legitimate behavior. Like for instance, let's say you own a donut shop and you were selling these really tasty donuts for $2. And like that was your livelihood. That's all you know, and that's what your dad did. That's what your granddad did, and like your life was this selling these $2 donuts. And I decided to open up a donut shop next to you, and my donuts are just as good. I'm selling them for $1, and I put you out of business. Right? I've just destroyed your livelihood. But I think that what I did was completely legitimate. And as a matter of fact, even if I did it intentionally, not even just to make a profit, but just to put you out of business, I don't think that behavior should be restricted.
Okay. And like I think you're right. That's probably not the best metric then.
That's why I draw the line at violating someone else's rights. And so I couldn't go across the street and like kick over your donuts. I couldn't burn it down or anything like that or steal your donuts. But I could definitely compete for money and for capital that doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the customers, and they get to decide where they put their money. Dan Shire said, to live in a collective, you have to have rules, standards of conduct. Not everyone will agree to everything, so you need to have some kind of codification. Same for interactions between collectives. I mean, yeah, I mean, everybody's not going to agree. And I mean, unfortunately, the government doesn't solve that now. Like that's why I was going to ask that's why I had asked if I'll keep up with international relations at all. And so they kind of, on an international scale, the world is actually kind of in a state of anarchy. Right. So you have some.
Well, yeah, we don't have a world government.
Right. We have some international organizations that really can't do anything on their own. They're completely dependent on the countries that to enforce any of their policies. Like you got the UN. The UN can't do anything without the countries saying it. And sometimes they'll make rules and the countries just be like, whatever. Like the thing about like you say you weren't keeping up with Russia, but they're committing all kinds of war crimes in Ukraine. Like we're talking about, like not even just like, so they ran out of supplies. They didn't have enough food going over, so they were raiding grocery stores and all that kind of stuff. So, but not even just that. We're talking about like the treatment of women, like this massive rape. There was one case, a 4-year-old Ukrainian girl was raped by a Russian soldier. Obviously, that's violates international law. Russia did nothing about that, right? They have them intentionally destroying civilian infrastructures over there, and that Russia is just completely just disregarding that. There's no one to keep them in line, and so like that's kind of on us to figure things out. And but yeah, so I guess to Dan Shire's point, even government doesn't really seem to resolve that.
Dan also asked earlier to tell us stories about us being up at night drunk and solving world problems. That is this podcast. I mean, we just talk about everything. That's not a joke. He and I have known each other for very close to 29 years now, if not 29 years by now, which is insane.
Yeah, and we're both in our early 30s. So get that.
We're both in our early 30s. And yeah, we've known each other since I was 4. So I started kindergarten at 4 years old in August of 1995, which is where I met Triboulet. So that's been how long ago that was. And we have had conversations about probably anything you can ever imagine. Uh, Not limited to discussions about religion and horse penises or flat earth or anything else. We've just had just an infinite number of conversations. We come up with some weird ideas and weird arguments to essentially try to test each other and push each other on things. So that kind of came about. The podcast kind of came about from that, and just seeing if like, and I'm sure there's like a marketing strategy we could employ and like investments we could make to grow the channel. But in actuality, in reality, this is just like what we normally do anyway, and then we were like, oh, we'll record it. And so we get nuanced pretty frequently, unfortunately, because that's not where your entertainment value lies. In a world of debate or discussion or arguments, the entertainment value is much greater for someone like Jerry Springer than like a local political debate. But that's not the purpose of the show or the channel, and now we just have discussions and invite people on if we can get them on, and I don't know, we enjoy it. We've been arguing with each other for almost 30 years, so it's nothing new to us.
Who you voting for and why?
Me?
I'm not voting.
Anybody?
I mean, I'll probably vote for Kamala, and the reason why is because I think Trump is an autocrat and a narcissist, and I don't think that makes for a good leader. And I don't like the way he handled the insurrection.
Yeah, it's the same.
That was. I'm not sure if I would say he's responsible, but I could definitely see there's an argument for him being responsible for it, and certainly he's responsible for it happening the way it did.
Yeah, and then also, after it started, like you could definitely make the case that he was grossly negligent.
That's what I'm talking about.
Their election of duty.
That's what I'm talking about. How he handled it after it started. He just no. I'm cool here, and we're gonna just let this see if I can get put in office by these guys or something. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not voting for you. Of course, in my state, it doesn't matter. I think every county in my state has gone Republican for the last 5 elections. So I can vote for anybody, and it doesn't matter.
I live in Northern Virginia, and so my area kind of pisses everybody else off because like most of Virginia is extremely conservative. You see, they're all red, but then you have these 4 little counties right at the top near DC, and they're like all blue. And a lot of times, what we'll do is we'll completely turn the entire state blue because there's a lot of us.
That's where everybody lives. Like the rest of Virginia, like the population of like Richmond alone is like half the population of Virginia.
Did y'all see the way that Trump's? Did you hear Trump's story about the helicopter?
I saw the movie Does Plane.
Wasn't that weird as shit? So he said he was in a helicopter with Mayor Willie Brown, and it was getting ready to crash. And while this almost helicopter crash is happening, Mayor Willie Brown tells Trump all of these bad things about Kamala Harris in the helicopter.
What?
Yeah,
it's crashing.
Yeah, it's really weird. Matter of fact, and this happened in like 1990, and so this is before Kamala Harris was even famous. Before anybody knew who she was. Like she wasn't a senator or anything. She was just like some attorney just starting out. So he's like, hey, by the way, the helicopter's crashing. Hey, I was dating this broad named Kamala. She's just an awful person. It was weird. And bro, but they asked Mayor Willie Brown if he had ever been in a helicopter with Trump. And the guy said no. So like the whole story was just made up.
I mean,
what a bizarre lie.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think Trump is lying to you, I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Then how about the lie about his VP? JD Vance told his lie about what's his name, Tim Watts or whatever, that he swallowed like a bunch of horse semen, and then the doctors had to pump it out of him or something like that.
I haven't heard that one. Like I said, I don't pay attention to the news. I
did see that.
I don't pay attention to any news, even local, national. Whatever I come across like tangentially is about all I know about.
I saw Vance accusing Watts of being a draft dodger or that kind of thing because he retired from the military just before like his unit got deployed.
Oh yeah, man. That? And so yes, there's a bunch of that. And then he said that he was lying about his rank. And so a lot of people who don't understand how the army works. So like in the army, so both of those things I guess address. So in the army, you can promote to a certain rank, and then in order to keep that rank, you have to meet these qualifications. Like you have to go to schools and stuff. Like right now, I'm a sergeant, and I'll be promotable to staff sergeant in a few months. And in order to keep staff sergeant, I have to go to ALC, because it's called Advanced Leadership Course. If I don't attend that course, they'll eventually like knock me. They'll push me back to sergeant. Or if I was to retire, well, I couldn't retire now. I don't have the time in. But if I was to leave the army for whatever reason, medical discharge, or my time of service ended and I just didn't re-enlist, for benefits purposes, I would go back to a sergeant, even if I was staff sergeant, because I didn't meet all the qualifications. So that's what's happened there. He had pinned on command sergeant major. They pinned him. It was on him. He was wearing command sergeant major rank, and sergeant major rank, and he didn't attend the schools. He didn't finish all of that training, and so he got knocked back down to master sergeant for benefits purposes. And when I mean benefits, pretty much just your pension. So he's going to be paid as an E8 instead of a E9. That's how that works. Yep. And then I'll get the draft dodging thing. Oh, not draft dodging. They said he quit before deployment. From what I read, he had turned in his retirement paperwork about a year before the deployment order came in.
Yeah, I saw 8 months he was approved.
8 months?
Yeah, I saw 8 months he was approved for retirement at a certain date in the future.
Right. Before the deployment order came
considered. In. Yeah.
So, right. So before they even know about the deployment, he had already put in his retirement packet. And so he said he got approved. And so the dude's about to get out, and now the deployment comes. And after serving 24 years,
No. The deployment didn't come before he got out. He put in his paperwork 8 months in advance for approval, and then he got approved, and then like the next month deployment happened. Like that's kind of what actually happened if you look at the timeline.
Okay.
And it was like he wasn't even there anymore, much less like being considered, because he had already put in his paperwork for retirement like months and months before.
Yeah, that's what it's, to me, it's crazy the way people are harping on this, man. The dude spent 24 years, serving this country, and then you're ragging on him because he didn't, go on this deployment in his 24th year. I mean, to me, that I don't know, especially when you have go ahead.
I mean, so the Republicans like their veterans, but they don't have one this year.
Right. Well, they got. I think JD Vance, he was a photographer for the Marines.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But and I was gonna say they like their veterans sometimes. And so remember that comment, he was like, he didn't want it. There was some event in Germany, and they were, or France, and they had it was some. I think this is a massive cemetery for World War II vets in France. I think it was. He called them losers and suckers or something like that. And so they were. He said they didn't want to go because they were losers and suckers. And so there's no audio or video of him actually saying this, but it's not out of character. Like, I don't know if he actually did say that, but I know he would. Do you remember the thing that he did say about John McCain? He said like he likes his veterans, but not the ones that got captured.
Oh yeah, he basically.
Yeah, I remember that.
John McCain being a prisoner of war.
Right, and so a guy that says that, do you think is out of the possibility that he would also call World War II vets losers and suckers?
Well, no, especially given how most of them are dead. But
right, but I mean that's what I'm saying. I'm just like he calls a Vietnam POW says he don't respect him because he got caught. Well, it wouldn't be out of character. So no. I don't know if he actually did say call them losers and suckers, but I know he would. It's not something he wouldn't do.
Yeah, it would definitely wouldn't be out of character for him.
Right. Dan Shaw says that he trashed Huck McCain for getting captured. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. And so when we're talking about, respecting the vets, sometimes they do.
Well,
that's the thing that kind of bugs me, man. Okay, go ahead.
What I mean is, yeah, they like, it's more not that they like their vets, they like the idea of vets more than the actual implementation of vets. Because like they don't like vets who are having PTSD. Mm-hmm. Those guys should be just like locked up and put in jail. So it's not that they actually like vets. They just like the idea of having veterans and stuff.
I did I worked for Ron Paul's campaign back in 2012, and so like I got to work with a lot of some of the local Republicans in my area. And I got to know some of them, and like, I'm not gonna say of course, not every Republican is like this, but the hypocrisy that goes on, and not even just in a party, but just with conservatives in general, like it kind of bugs me, man. For instance, man, think about remember back in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was running, and what were they talking about? They're saying lock her up, right? Because of the email thing, right? She sent some classified email. I think it was some zipper emails over a commercial
private server.
Yeah, a private server. Yeah, and so they were harping on this, and like every time they trash talk her, this kept being brought up. I was seeing memes about it from my conservative friends on social media over and over again, and then. Think about this. Are you familiar with the classified documents thing in Trump's situation?
No.
When he had to raid his house. Okay, well, if you know anything about that situation is at least 10 times worse than what Hillary Clinton was doing. Dude had TSSCI, which is top secret, sensitive compartmented information, stored inside his bathtub.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. You're not supposed to. You're only supposed to look at this inside of a SCIF. And a SCIF is a sensitive compartmented information facility. It's this building that's locked down. There's no windows, and electromagnetic signals can't even get in or out. Right. So it's just tight down. You're only supposed to look at this documents inside there, and you have to go through this lengthy investigation just to get clearance, and then your job has to require it for you to look at it. So this is really strict. And he just took it, and he had it stored in his bathtub, and was having just his employees, where he just hired from whatever. He had them moving it, and then like some of the boxes fell, and the content spilled everywhere. And so they took pictures of the stuff. And anybody who's watching this who works in a cleared space, this is insanity. Like he's taking pictures. His employees take pictures of these documents and send them to him, and then pictures start going all throughout people's phones, talking about like how we're going to move the documents and stuff. Like it's insane, and like there hasn't been been even a whisper about this, despite Trump,
So,
despite harassing Hillary about the emails. Go ahead.
so is some of that mitigated by him being the president?
No,
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's not, and that's what his argument was. He was saying under the Presidential Records Act, he gets to take and he gets to pretty much say he owns that stuff and take it home. But if you read the Presidential Records Act, it tells you that national security information doesn't qualify. Like, so that he can't take national security information, classified information is national security information, and yes. So
hey, I got to step away for a second.
Okay. What up, Facade?
Oh, you know, just living life, man.
Oh yeah.
Tired. This is my
Word.
first day off in almost a month, and I had a meeting that was about an hour long today.
Oh, nice. Oh, dang. I should have meant to call you and ask about that.
I heard nothing. Not officially, at least.
Okay. Nice. You even keeping up with the you saw what happened with Iran?
I hadn't paid attention to anything in the past month because I've been away. I don't have TV or anything.
Gotcha. You know about the Palestinian war, right? With the Israel, they invaded Palestine and they're killing a bunch of people looking for Hamas and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, they killed a bunch of innocent people in the process.
Yeah,
including blowing up hospitals and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he said, Dan Shire said he's taking us back to medieval times. When I'm the king, I am the law. It's probably talking about Trump or Netanyahu, either one of those.
Or you.
Both of those guys are trash. Is it or me?
Yeah, or you.
Yeah. But yeah, so dude, one of the leaders of Hamas was in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. And he was in a hotel room. And he was there just on some diplomacy mission. And bro, Israel fired a missile. Like, where were they? I'm not sure if they were in Jordanian airspace. It was really far away. I don't even think they were in Iran. But they had some serious intel. They knew exactly where he was. They fired a missile from outside the country, and this missile goes to his hotel room and blows it up, kills the guy. And so Iran is pissed about that. So they're expecting some retaliatory acts as a result. And so U.S. removed some naval carriers in the vicinity to. They probably won't hit Iran. But he says LOL Trump, but we can't trash talk Trump too. But yeah, so they probably won't hit Iran, but they're probably there to intercept any missiles that target Israel. To me, I think that was a violation of international law. You're talking about like some sort of political killing like that, especially because he had nothing to do with the planning that happened back in remember that terrorist attack. The Hamas that killed like a few hundred. It was a lot of Israelis they had killed, but he had nothing to do with that. So it's crazy, man. It's weird, man. You have all of these. So you have we've been watching this Iran and Israel. Matter of fact, we had thought that Iran and Saudi Arabia were just gonna kind of go at it for a number of years, but then. Now it's kind of switched to Iran and Israel. Well, Israel and Saudi Arabia versus Iran, but Saudi Arabia seems to be trying to normalize relations. But
I was thinking, isn't the Saudi Arabia thing because of Saddam Hussein?
What do you mean?
Well, like post Saddam Hussein, we started like gathering intel, thinking that they were going to lead to war. Is that correct?
Who's going to lead the war? Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I know there's been a bunch of times that Iran and Saudi Arabia have gone at it. They're like in this regional Cold War, and so you have all of these small wars going on all throughout the Middle East and Africa, and Saudi Arabia and Iran are funding different sides. Like you got like in Yemen, you have the Houthis fighting the Houthis, which is backed by Iran, fighting the Yemen official government, which are backed by Saudi Arabia. And so, Iran and Saudi Arabia have been trying to normalize relations, and they almost did that. I don't know if you remember when they had this. Remember when Trump killed some Iranian general?
Yep.
So he was going to a meeting in Iraq to meet with a Saudi Arabian diplomat. And so you have these two massive countries that have been in regional Cold Wars, we've been trying to keep them from going at it, sorta. But they were Yudahef Hechu. He says howdy. What's going on, bro?
Hello.
So we've been trying to. We don't want them to go at it because it'd be bad for everybody, and because we have bases stationed throughout, and so they were getting ready to normalize relations, and then Trump kills a high-ranking general in the midst of it. And so that soured the relations. But the point I was going to say was that you have a lot of possible things that could initiate a World War III all happening at the same time. We have the Russia to Ukraine situation, which we're kind of watching. We're afraid that Russia is going to push the bounds past Ukraine and maybe go into Western Europe. You know, ironically, I think Trump has the best plan on the Russian-Ukrainian situation. And so, I mean, it's not very well thought out, but I think it's the best plan for what we got. Hey, you have at you. I want to tell you, if you want to jump in, you can. We got a link posted. So this is a live hangout. So if you want to jump in the show, just click on the link and we'll admit you, man. Same to you, Dan Shire. But what I was going to say was so Putin, you know what NATO is, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's this agreement between the United States, Canada, and a lot of Western European countries, and now some former Soviet states, that they're going to act as one military body if attacked. So if you attack one, they say that you attack all of them, right? And so Russia is weary about NATO's troops being too close to its borders, because most of the countries in NATO are very hostile to Russia. So he wants a buffer, and the current Russian boundaries just aren't far enough from Moscow. So he wants more. He also wants access to I think it was the Black Sea, and so that's what seizing Crimea was about. But Trump's plan is essentially, he says, I got to fly, but we'll catch y'all, catch the replay. All good, my man. Yeah, so Trump's plan is essentially to cede Ukrainian territory over to Putin. That'll give him his buffer area. And on top of that, Eastern Ukraine is already majority ethnic Russians anyway. So I think this will work out very well. At least in the war, like there's some things that I'm concerned about. Like if Putin kind of half-assed this invasion. He didn't take into account how the world was going to react. He thought that Ukrainians were going to see the Russian troops as their heroes, as liberators, and that's not the way he looked at them at all. Instead of meeting them with flowers, they met them with AKs, right? So and it turned awful. It turned into this protracted war. He thought that he'd be able to. Also, he was expecting a very quick and decisive victory over Ukraine, and that's kind of what everybody expected. But what he didn't realize, and I guess the world didn't realize either, was that Russia's military is almost completely inept and incompetent. Like there's just basic things they just can't do right. You saw they're like, it was about 40 something vehicles and hundreds of men completely got destroyed by some missiles coming from Ukraine. And the thing is, they would have known the systems were coming. Those missiles were coming. They forgot to turn on their radars. And so they didn't act. So you have stuff like that. You have like just a bunch of just really like Barney Fifer level, mistakes happening. And so Putin is getting more and more desperate trying to win this war with Ukraine because we got a bunch of sanctions on them, on all of Russia. Matter of fact, they're now, after the war, they became the most sanctioned country on the planet. And the next more sanctioned country, Iran, only has the third amount of sanctions on them. So the country isn't doing well. The economy's collapsing. A lot of Russians are fleeing. There are different oblasts that are voting for independence from Russia. It's not doing well. So Putin's becoming more and more desperate. And one of the things that I'm concerned about, and there's been a few of us in the intel community been talking about this, is that as Putin become more and more desperate, he's becoming more and more reckless, right? You see, so Russia used to be the main weapon supplier for all the nations that the United States and NATO is hostile with, like Iran. Like Iran can't buy weapons from us or from any NATO member. Neither can North Korea, right? China used to buy a bunch of weapons from Russia, so to India, right? And so Russia is actually counseling a lot of those weapons sales just to keep them in Russia because they need them to fight. And what I'm afraid of is that as the war prolongs and Putin gets more desperate, he might exchange more aid for something more deadly, like such as he might sell nuclear weapon secrets to Iran. He might sell delivery system secrets to North Korea. Yeah, I mean, that's something to think about. Do you think Putin wouldn't do that to win this Ukrainian war that he's desperate to win? And I think he might.
Well, there's,
So-
go ahead.
So is it an ego thing? Is that why he wants to win it so much?
No, it's not an ego thing. Well, that might be part of it, but the main thing, he wants a buffer between him and NATO troops. Like, for instance, like we're hostile to China, right? China and the US are not friends, right? And also China and North Korea aren't even friends. They don't get along, right? Because you got North Korean pirates that steady hijacking Chinese ships and all that kind of stuff. China puts up with North Korea because it acts as a buffer between China's border and American troops, because there's thousands of U.S. troops stationed in South Korea, and so they don't want troops on their borders. Just think about this: like if Russia was to start staging troops in Canada or Mexico, we would not put up with that. Like your troops are way too close to us, and that's what Putin is concerned about. He doesn't want troops that close to his border. He doesn't want NATO members that close to his border. And because they're really close to Moscow, they can invade very easily and then take it over. And so that's the main policy that he says is driving them. Also, Russia doesn't have this. If you look at Russia on a map, you would think they have tons of access to the sea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think they're having like a prolific navy, and they really don't. Most of their navies, like in the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, they don't have a lot of sea and a lot of navies in the ocean, because all of that water that you see north of Russia, it's frozen, 6 or 7 months out of the year, right? So unless you have an icebreaker, you can't really put ships there. So that's useless to them. So in order for their navy to function, they need access to the Black Sea, and you can get that through Crimea. You can get that through Kaliningrad, which now they can't access. If you're familiar, do you know what Kaliningrad is?
No.
It's this Russian oblast that it's part of Russia, but is geographically disconnected. It's like what Alaska is to us.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But like for us, is it's okay because Canada is a friendly nation, so we can drive through them, right? So, but for Russia to reach Kaliningrad, they have to go through Belarus, which is a close Russian ally, but they also have to go through Lithuania, which is now a member of NATO. And Lithuania said no, and so now they can't reach it. There's a train that goes through. They just said nope, can't go that way. And so now this is a huge problem. So now Kaliningrad is like, hey, you got the whole world through all these sanctions on us. We can't even get to the mainland Russia. Our economy is hurting as a result of the sanctions. We just want freedom. Just let us go. And so, yeah, Putin is worried about losing power, but he also wants that NATO buffer. In my opinion, I think people have, because Putin dropped the ball so much, I think people lost faith in him. If he loses this war, mark my words, Putin will die. He will disappear. He's gonna get sick or something and go away. That is
we
my
already have
opinion.
the rumor that Putin's dead, and that's where I was gonna kind of delve into conspiracy theories. But there's the idea that Putin died a little while ago, and that he's just got a body double that's kind of running the place for him. Don't know if you take stock in that, but
yeah, that's an interesting thing. I don't know. Well, whoever is, if Putin has a double, he's still just as problematic because he's telling his country to do horrible things, and so he still needs to go. But yeah, I guess I'd have to look into that. I don't think Putin's dead. That would be insane though if we were to find out.
Cancer.
Go ahead.
I said, well, he had pretty severe stomach cancer, or at least supposedly he had pretty severe stomach cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he was fighting cancer for a while. That's why the theories probably popped up.
Well, what's crazy is that, so you saw the aid package that we just sent to. Actually, I think we lost. Are we still streaming live? Okay,
well, it says so. Yeah, okay. Just mine buffered for a minute there.
Okay. Did you see the aid package that just went to Ukraine? I don't know if y'all were keeping up with that. Well, you I know you said, Phantom, that you don't keep up with the news or anything like that.
Did it happen within the past month?
Say it again.
Did it happen within the past month?
No. Well, I think it's about a month ago.
Oh,
but
probably was off-site.
Well, what's crazy is that the rules of engagement changed for the longest time. Then Shire said, "Where's Oliver Stone when you need him?" Yeah, that's the Putin thing. For the longest time, when U.S. and NATO allies were sending weapons to aid Ukraine, the rules were you could hit Russian targets, but only Russian targets that are geographically located in Ukraine, because they didn't want to escalate things. If you start hitting stuff in Russia and it's weapons that we gave them, now that implicates us, and now you have a fight between two nuclear powers, which has never happened before, and that's not what we want, right? And so we changed the rules of engagement. Now, hold on. Huh?
I feel like it keeps sneezing and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
I gotta stop sneezing a lot.
Okay. It's good. You know, okay. Okay.
Like those watching TV.
Okay. That's my daughter. But like okay, MJ. Yeah, what I was gonna say was they changed the rules of engagement. So now, and the reason why they changed this because Russia knew that they couldn't be hit with U.S. or NATO weapons outside of Ukraine. So Russia would just stage their artillery right on the Russian border and start shooting from there. And be like, hey, you can't hit me, you can't touch me, whatever. But they can still hit them with Ukrainian weapons, but they couldn't hit them with NATO weapons. But so they just changed that, and we sent several F-35s over to Ukraine, and they're not U.S. F-35. They're the F-35s that we sold to NATO members, but we gave them permission to send those F-35s to Ukraine. And now they said you can hit Russian targets in Russia. So now there will be U.S. made F-35s flying into Russia, dropping bombs. Like this is a serious change in the rules of engagement. This is a scary state of affairs. And I'm not liking it at all. I think from the beginning that of this Russian-Ukrainian war, the most we should have done right when Putin entered, I think we should have given Ukraine our thoughts and prayers, in my opinion. I think we should have left it at that. Yeah, anything else, risk it, exploding out of exploding to something more than what we thought could have or would have happened. And this is what I was talking about with Putin, possibly exchanging nuclear secrets for help. So, yeah, it's not something that I don't think Ukraine is worth that.
What do you think of the Paul brothers and the Imani Khalif issue?
The Paul brothers, I don't know who that is.
You know Jake and Logan Paul?
Oh yeah. Oh, you talking about and you talking about the boxer, right?
Yeah.
Who everybody was saying was a man, because of the chromosomes.
Yeah.
So is she? Are they listed in a lawsuit?
I heard she's raising a lawsuit, but I don't know if
I figured she's gonna go at one of them, like Logan or Jake. I get them confused.
If it was Logan, yeah. I think Jake Paul's the boxer and Logan's the promoter at this point. I think I don't know. I don't keep up.
Okay,
with them, but
I think she should take legal action against them. I mean, so because I think, both of those people, they have millions of people following them, and he was just spreading lies about them. And did you see the apology? It was this half-ass apology, bro. Like it wasn't even really an apology. Like he's first he was like, this man beat up a woman and blah 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 in this long ass post, right? And then when he apologized, he said, "Oh, actually, I was wrong. It's not actually a man. It is a woman. But I don't take back any of the other stuff that I said. Yeah. And if you disagree, you're sick," or something. It was something like that.
Yeah. Scam. This little pet thing that you could play was a scam, and then I mean it became this whole big thing, and he was like threatening to sue him, and I was just like, oh well, it sounds to me like you're just mad that this guy pointed something out that you definitely did. I'm just like,
so one of the local brothers had a cryptocurrency, you saying?
Yeah, they had some like it wasn't crypto. Sorry, I apologize. It's like an NFT thing. I'll Google it real quick, but yeah, it's like
that's wild. I know Elon Musk. He
It was
just put
called
out this new
Crypto
cryptocurrency.
Zoo.
Is what?
It was called Crypto Zoo, and it was supposed to be this like full playable game in which you bought eggs that hatched into animals that were rare NFTs. It was it was pretty complicated, to be honest. But he was supposed to develop it into this like full blown game, and then like 2 years later, it still hasn't been a thing, and he just took the money. And then like eventually, CoffeeZilla did a piece on him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'll offer a refund to trade in the initial, and I'll use that, like the remaining money that I've made from it, to develop it into a full-blown game if you want to give me a chance." And CoffeeZilla was like, "All right, I mean, like, it's not perfect because you're not offering like full refunds to everybody, but like if you develop it and they want to stick around for the full-blown game or whatever it is, like that's, you know, their own money, they can do what they want with it." And then like another year goes by and it's still not at all more developed, and CoffeeZilla did another piece on them, and I think CoffeeZilla was like getting sued because he reported on it. And I was just like, yeah, that's the thing, man. Like you call out something somebody did and you're getting sued.
Jeez.
John Oliver did a really good piece on slap suits. If you didn't watch that, it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I did. I saw that.
And then
It was a while ago, but
Logan Paul is suing CoffeeZilla in like a very particular district in Texas that doesn't allow anti-slap suits. like, so you can see what's happening there.
Yeah. It shows you about the quality of the suit, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, you know, back when we were kids, I never once thought about being like a famous YouTuber. I mean, YouTube wasn't even a thing until like 2006, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was like the earliest days of YouTube's existence. And
what is? What up?
I'm glad
nigga
the
house?
screen is where it is.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
It's Millhouse.
Who's this?
From The Simpsons.
What's going on, bro? That's a bunch of
Yo, what's going on?
Hey,
Oh, wow.
Alberto.
Hey,
Welcome.
man. Wait.
Got somebody playing some stuff? All right.
No. Nigga. I'm 100% nigga. Nigga.
Kick, and you're kicked, and now banned.
Come on, bro.
Now banned.
Come on, bro. That's a bunch of
Yo, what's going on?
Can you kick some stuff? All right.
No.
It's okay. You're muted. You can't.
I
do
hope that
anything.
doesn't get us banned.
He's muted.
Nigga.
He can't do anything. He's muted. Can you please kick him?
Yo,
and ban him?
I'd like to talk to you about the anarchy thing. I guess you were disagreeing
Okay.
with me for the most part, right?
Hey, can you kick him?
Oh,
and ban
man.
him?
Unless you had something else you wanted to try to tackle.
Thanks.
Rights or something?
Sure, man.
No, I'm
Right.
just kidding.
He said anything. I don't know why.
You know, one of those easy topics to just knock out in a few minutes.
Yeah,
man.
you know, something simple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we wanted to
But
do
no,
anything complicated.
I don't remember.
Hey,
you know,
somebody's
you'd have to
playing the
remind me
video
some of the stuff
live. I mean, we're gonna have to cut this at some point. This is people getting kicked.
Yeah. I just banned him.
I was about to say I can if you didn't. Somebody's
Yeah, I
playing
already
the
did.
video live. I muted our audio, so none of that just happened went live. So
I'm like, why, guys?
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, I don't-
I've never heard of it.
I mean, you guys are bigger than my channel for sure. But like, I wouldn't. I was surprised you would get trolls like that.
Yeah.
You know, I guess when people want to troll.
But
they're
hey,
gonna
guys,
troll.
like and subscribe. Whoever y'all are.
Except for that guy that, you know, did that thing.
Yeah.
Don't like or subscribe.
What were we saying prior though?
You kind of got like a weird echo thing going.
I don't hear any echo.
Okay, maybe it's just me. It's fine.
But what were you saying before it interrupted?
Who, me?
Who, me?
Yeah, I thought one of you were saying something. We were talking about the cryptocurrency or something, right?
Oh,
yeah, I don't have anything to add about that.
Yeah, now we were just
okay.
talking about Logan Paul or Jake Paul or whoever it was. Yeah, it just seems that like the idea and concept of becoming like a multimillionaire off of this without, you know, it was just baffling to me.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I think that I mean, we were talking about this earlier. We're talking about like with AI and how that's going to get rid of the celebrity, you know, quote unquote. Was kind of like it's like a something that developed in the 20th century, right? I don't remember I can't think of many people who I would consider celebrities, you know, prior to 20th century, but I think AI is going to remove that. You're going to have I could see.
I'm going to tell you who a celebrity was before the 20th century that you definitely know. George Washington.
Oh, who you got? George Washington. Well, I mean, there were famous people, and so there were famous people,
like celebrity
and there were popular
status.
people. But yeah, I don't know if I would consider him a celebrity.
Dude, he was so famous, man. Like, I don't think you realize how famous he was. Like, when the time came to, you know, be a president, there was no question. There wasn't even a consideration of anyone else.
Well, sure, but
and there's also like Wyatt Earp, and the dime novels that were written about him.
Yeah,
that would, you know, things like that. There's a lot of that in the late 19th century.
Yeah, I wouldn't know if I call him a celebrity. I'm talking when I say celebrity, I'm talking about somebody who's famous for doing something like that's kind of related to entertainment, right? Not like a politician or somebody who's famous for doing like inventing something.
I mean, you have famous artists and whatnot. I mean, geez,
artists, yeah,
like Michelangelo is, for God's sakes, he created the most famous masterpiece of all time.
Fair enough. But like, I guess you'd agree that so then the number of celebrities blew up after the 21st century, right? So like when we have movies and music becomes far more prolific. Yeah. And so I think the age of that is, I think that's about the end. But I think, because I could see AI coming similar to, like, you familiar with like Udio or Sumo? It's an AI music generator. So I could see like apps that's completely AI, and you can just type in what your preferences of music is like, and you can say something that's similar to this other artist or something like that, and then it can just generate that for you. Like, you don't even. Go ahead.
Oh, you got to have the artist to begin with.
He said we already have the artist to begin with, and that's what I was gonna say. And so, like, right now, I mean, I'm still part of the generation of people who appreciate original music coming from like a human artist rather than AI. So, but I could definitely see my daughter, or maybe the generation after her, you know, not even caring whether it was made by a human or made by a machine. And I could see apps doing just that, coming out with non-copyrighted music, just, you know, that's pleasing to the ears, of something that people already like, you know, and maybe go ahead.
It'll have to get a lot more advanced. Like right now, it can only copy stuff. It can't create new stuff.
That's wrong. It definitely can.
As a matter of fact, there are multiple AI websites between audio, video, pictures, etc. that allow you a free copyright when you generate a new image. Hey.
Yo, what up, cuz?
Yo, what's going on?
Tell it, man.
So,
what are we talking about?
We're talking about AI, how it's going to get rid of celebrities.
We also just got like
Shit, I'm a celebrity.
Yeah.
well, yeah.
I think you're good for now, man.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah, but like we were saying, like I think so. You had said, I think Phantom, you had said that like you don't think AI it can only copy music, but it can't create.
Well, what I mean by that is, so like the way, at least the way it's been explained to me, is like the large language models. They just statistically they analyze like the content, and they have some kind of understanding of what the content is, but what the text that they're generating is just statistically what the next word would be. They're not like they're not making up new concepts.
Well, I guess I don't know what you mean by making up new concepts. I'm not sure if anyone does that ever, but what the AI is doing, it is applying music theory, like in the same I was not the exact same way that a human would, but it is not copying music, or it's not taking different patterns.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say it was copying music, but it isn't. It isn't. Let me try to. I don't know about with music, but with like with art. Right now, like it all looks kind of the same. You can tell in AI art because it's copying what someone else has already done.
Would you like to wager that? Because I've seen some insane stuff recently. I've been on the kick of AI that will blow your mind.
Right, but it's still, it's still like it's not a new style like Picasso.
But does
like
anybody
Picasso,
do that? Like
Picasso did.
I don't think it's a new style. Matter of fact, I was reading this book that it was talking about creativity. Creativity isn't creating something entirely new. It's creating something that there always was, but expressing it in a different way. It's like kind of like we're talking about, like a guitar, right? How many strings does it have? Right,
Well,
there's only so many patterns that you're going to be able to make from it.
Right.
And so eventually, and not even eventually, but with a very short time after the creation of the guitar, all the strings, all those patterns had already been picked up. And so now you can express those in different ways. So that I'd say AI is doing exactly that. Did you see that? Did you see Toys R Us? They had put out a commercial that was completely AI.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen.
I watched it.
It is insane. Like it's a dope commercial.
This is why I was saying, like, did you want to wager on that? Because the same company that helped Toys R Us produce this AI video have produced snippets of other videos, like, directly from their website. If you go to their website, you can see.
It's a format of a syllogism, but it's nonsense. Okay, so here I asked it to create a syllogism, and it says rainbows are colorful. Wait, no, that wasn't the one. Where is it?
Sounded like you were going with a haiku there. Rainbows are colorful.
Yeah,
that is a 575 if I've ever heard it.
What's the syllogism? Go ahead.
Sorry, that was I guess it lost the one that I did. So I'll just read this one. Rainbows are colorful. My toothbrush is colorful, therefore my toothbrush is a rainbow. Oh. No, here it is.
Oh,
Clouds
yeah,
so I mean it's not I mean it's so that's I don't know. I thought that was funny to me.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I mean that was affirming the consequent. I guess it's invalid. But
yeah. I mean it's a syllogism, it's not a syllogism.
Gotcha. So I asked the AI to make up a joke, and it said, "Here's a joke I just made up. Why did the AI assistant go to therapy? Because it was struggling to process its AI." They are that confident, and I guess in their defense, because it's just music theory. They aren't sampling. They aren't taking music and slowing it down or chopping it up or anything like that. They're taking the theory from it and applying it in a different way. Like I made an AI album. And there's parts of it that you would swear is Frank Ocean, and it's not. It's just a robot.
So I wanna make sure that I'm on track here because I was late. So are you saying basically
kind of like that, but like way more complicated, way more advanced than that. Kind of like that, but like way more complicated, way more advanced than that. That's what what's been described. And like at this point, I don't think that's going to replace people. At some point, I have no doubt that at some point we will have an AI that could replace people. But this right here, I don't think is going to.
I think there's, well, I don't think AI would replace.
So let's say you have two different people with the same issue. Let's say they're going to their AI therapist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just to keep it simple, let's just say that there's somebody who needs therapy because they've just been cheated on. Okay. So if they're coming with the same issue, hey, AI therapist, I've been cheated on. I need to be able to process my emotions and work through this. But they have different paths. So the thing is, maybe one person is a little more accepting of the person cheating because it was something that they saw their mother go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the other person is afraid of leaving the relationship because they are in an abusive relationship, so they're afraid of leaving the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
The AI can't differentiate between, because you got two different people, two different paths. How can the AI possibly say, well, for you, you need to deal with it this way. You need to deal with it that way. It seems to me that the AI isn't going to be emotionally intelligent enough to differentiate between people's emotions and their different traumas.
I think it could. I think an AI, not right now, but I can see it in the future by analyzing the patterns on your face, because that's the way we just express ourselves a lot. So by looking at the patterns, the facial expressions you make, some of your body language, the fluctuations in your voice, it can tell whether the things that it's saying you is benefiting you or how it's affecting you. You know, perhaps it says something I didn't like, and it noticed a change in my tone or a facial expression that I make or something like that. Like I could see it definitely developing that type of emotional intelligence for you, and it could probably do it much quicker than the human would.
Well, so all right, so check this out. Here's the other thing though. So now I'm a life coach as well,
Yeah.
right? So for instance, one of my clients, she was having this issue, and I was telling her, okay, for instance, she was always posting certain things on Facebook, and it was clear that she was looking for attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? Clearly looking for attention. And I said to her, you are searching for validation. And I said, there was a misstep somewhere. There was somewhere in your life that you needed that validation. And she was like, well, I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. I said, okay, let's go back. And by the time we started going back and uncovering things and peeling back layers, we went back to when she was 5 years old. And when she did not feel validation from her mother. And it started at 5 years old. I just don't think that AI has the capability to do that, to be able to see that. I don't think so. I just don't see it.
How did you figure it out?
Because I'm smarter than AI. No, I figured it out because, well, see, the thing is,
you were looking at. I would argue you were looking at some of the same things that I'd say AI was looking at. Like you could tell by the words she would say, how she would say them. You could tell if you like, is it video or in person or something like that?
It was in person.
Okay, cool. So that's even more, right? So you can see her body language, right? And so you can tell how she is responding.
But I didn't do it because of body language, though.
You didn't do it because of
facial expression.
Yeah, it was the context of the situation. You looked at everything. Right.
Yeah, but it's also based off of my experience doing this.
And the AI would have that.
And understanding human behavior. And and understand. And I got you. I know what you're gonna say. AI can do that. I got that too. And I agree with you. And I agree with you on that.
But I was going to say one more thing too. AI wouldn't have to learn it, right? Because let's say somebody else wanted to be a life coach, they'd have no access to your experiences. And AI would. It'd be in a central database. It can pull all of that stuff, and it wouldn't have to start from scratch. It would just improve. It would pull off the experiences of everything else.
But see, the other thing is AI doesn't have all the information that I have because AI doesn't see everything that she posts on Facebook. AI doesn't see me. I mean, because she's also my next door neighbor, right? So AI doesn't see what I see when I'm, So I feel like there's just more information. Plus, the other thing that we gotta take into account, we gotta assume that people are going to be just as comfortable with talking to a computer as they are talking to a person. Because now we're like, okay, I'm talking to this computer, but I don't feel like this computer can empathize. I don't feel like this computer can sympathize. I don't feel like all of the human emotions that's supposed to go into making me feel better. I just don't think that this computer can do it.
And here's the thing, so because for us, AI is pretty novel, right? Like the AI chat bot, it just came on the scene like a year and a half ago, and I don't even know if it's that long ago, and so it's very novel to us. This next generation AI, like my daughter, for her AI is going to be like running water. She won't know a world without it,
right?
And it'll get to a point. So right now, talking to AI, you know the difference between some people can know the difference depending on how developed the AI is, can determine the difference between AI and a real human. The big question is, can AI get so good that even while talking to it, knowing that it's AI, that you feel like you're talking to another human?
I'm open to being wrong, and I believe that could actually happen. I also don't want to be around for them times, yo. Get me out of here, yo.
I'll say this. Personally, I'm more likely to tell an AI something than I would tell a human something. And that's just a me thing. But I'm more like likely to pull up ChatGPT and just talk out stuff to ChatGPT than I am any human that I know.
Now, but are we talking about now? Are you in a dark place in your life, or are you more open to talking to ChatGPT or to AI and saying, "Listen, I'm going through this." For instance, let's say somebody is suicidal.
Oh, yeah, I'm not suicidal.
Okay, no, not you. I'm just saying, just somebody. But let's say that somebody is suicidal. You think that they'll feel more comfortable speaking to a computer than to a person?
I wouldn't. I've never been suicidal, so I couldn't tell you. I have no.
I think
reference for that.
I would say right now it is unlikely they'll feel more comfortable talking to a AI.
When
However,
time progresses,
yes, we'll become more and more comfortable with it. Like, dude, there was a time, 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, people was talking about, well, I don't know because I wasn't around, but I hear it was unusual to do therapy online.
Right.
Because you're not you're just talking to the computer. You're not actually talking to the real person. And now it's pretty common. Right now we do.
You know what? I agree with you, and I'm gonna tell you something. That's why the reason I said I'm open to being wrong, and I'm open to, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. If I go back, I can't imagine a world without planes. But let's say that we lived in a world without planes, and then we're having this conversation, and you're telling me, I'm telling you, one day somebody's going to create something, and you're going to be able to fly from this country to another country, and it's like I can't fathom that right now. So right now, me saying what I'm saying is me saying I can't fathom it. It just doesn't make sense. But I'm not saying that it won't happen. It could. It very well could.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it could. I think it will happen eventually. I'm not trying to say it won't. I'm saying the AI we have right now is not even close. It's just not there.
I don't know if y'all can see. Y'all probably can't see, but people who are watching, Facade has been streaming this, what you probably thought was a documentary, was a recording of sea life, and it is not. That is AI. Like you saw octopus. That trick looked completely real.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, if you go back here,
I'll go back to the previous one. You might be able to see it now, depending on how the camera picks up. In fact, I can.
Okay, yeah, I
turn
see
this
it.
part off.
I mean, I've seen very convincing AI videos. I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't think. But certainly, well, one of the problems with AI, especially like as for therapy, is it's so computationally expensive that they don't. It can't remember things more than like the last, I don't know, 1,000 tokens or something. You know?
and that's like right now. That's why I would be totally against people trying to use AI now. Like I wouldn't go to Chat GPT looking for therapy. Matter of fact, it's programmed against you. That it'll tell you.
Yeah.
That but like I think it could eventually get to the point. And this is what that brings us back to the celebrity thing. So just as like Udio and Sumo, they're creating music theory, you can do the same thing with movies. I could see a streaming service like Spotify or Apple Music, and you just type in, I want an artist that sounds like such and such, and it just give you that music. I could see a streaming service like Netflix coming around and a completely AI movie, and you tell it what kind of movie you want to see, and you get to put you say, hey, you know what, make my face the star. I want to be the star of it. Put my voice, my face in it, make me a hero or something like that, and then it doing that in top quality, and the movie be indistinguishable from something that was made by actual humans. And I'm not just putting faith in this. What I'm saying is the ability already exists. It's just in different components. It just hasn't been put together. AI can already create text and create sounds and music. It can create audios. It can do short films. Facade is displaying one on a screen if you can watch it on YouTube. You put that stuff together, what do you have? You have a movie. Like this is why I think, my opinion, 100 years from now, celebrities will be a thing of the past.
Well, so this is
Well,
the reason I brought this
thankfully,
up.
I'll be gone by then because I'm not trying to let them kill my celebrity. But unfortunately, fellas, I'm gonna have to go.
All
Sorry, I
good,
shouldn't
man.
stay long, but I'll definitely come back and check out the rest of this after we post it.
Yeah.
What's up?
All right, y'all have a good night.
See you,
All right,
Terrell.
cuz.
All right.
I'm gonna have to get ready to go too soon. It's like
Yeah. So
7:40.
just a quick commentary on some of the videos that you've been seeing primarily over my face in this video. And what's been going on is that I brought up Sora AI, the website for Sora AI, which is the company that was used in tangent with Toys R Us's AI commercial. And on their page, they claim to have a unedited just prompt of things that they've generated from text. And it is all original, and it is all copyrightable, because it is unique specifically to this AI. And so in the one that you're looking at on the screen right now, the prompt was, tour an art gallery with many beautiful works in different styles. Every piece of art you see in this brief 3 or 4 second video on the walls and the floor and the walls and the lights in the ceiling and everything else about this video is AI. There is no human component involved. And so I'm not saying it's like a unique style or something that's like mind-blowing or going to change the world. And you know, I don't know, as far, like, I'm not a very artistic person myself, so I wouldn't know the difference between a lot of different styles. The only thing I know about Picasso is the blue period. But I will say that, like, like, at least on the face, incredibly impressive to me to see this video, like this short video, and it's just all of the art is also now copyrighted because it created all of it. It generated everything in this video.
Now about that, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not getting the icon. Okay, I'm not getting the icon. Oh, there. Now it's starting to do it. So I haven't. I've only heard one of one case where they talked about AI copyright, and in it they said it has to be the ruling was it's not copyrighted because a human didn't create it. Now I expect that will change at some point. I don't think they're going to. That's going to hold up long term.
They already
But
have
at least-
changed it, as a matter of fact, because now you can like pay for like an advanced service or like a premium service for AI that does text and image generation that you can have copyrighted to you based off the uniqueness of your text. They'll actually give you the copyright for the image to use in like
Has that
public yeah, they give you the option.
It's been held.
For it.
It's been held up in court.
As far as I know, I mean, if not, then these companies that are selling the rights to these images that they help create are doing so illegally.
I mean, this is a very fast moving thing. There could have been another court case that I hadn't heard of, but I've only heard of one, and they said no, this isn't copyrighted because a human didn't create it. And so regardless of you know, and it was a text, they had a prompt, but the court said no, it has to be created by human to be copyrighted.
Yeah, so at least as of 2023 in December, it says that AI couldn't be copyrighted.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe they're just selling you the idea that it's going to be a unique creation as kind of its own form of copyright instead of like an actual copyright or what they're doing. But I have seen like these premium services.
And we're about to get in that.
Yeah.
Stop motion animation flower.
And that's what I'm saying. They can make it unique, but you can't like go to someone and say, "Hey, that's my video. You can't use it," because it's not. The copyright isn't enforceable as of now. Now I think the way we're going, it's probably that'll get changed, and at some point, AI generated stuff will be copyrighted. Who gets the copyright will be I couldn't predict, but I think it will be copyrighted at some point. But right now it's not.
Yeah, so from what I was reading just on that quick, and this is super quick, so I'm giving my opinion based off of a 2-second Google search, but essentially from what I can gather, people are selling not the copyright to it, but essentially you're allowed to, they're giving you permissions to use it in a commercial scale, like how Toys R Us used AI to generate their commercial. They wouldn't allow, like, for instance, me to go and try to AI recreate that commercial.
Oh, well, if there's no copyright, they can't, they're giving you a nothing burger because you already have that right. If there's no copyright, anyone can take that video and do whatever they want with it.
I assume, but I wouldn't have permissions to use it commercially. So if I made money off of
Sure
it,
you would.
the company could sue me.
No, they can sue, anybody can sue you for anything. What I'm saying is,
Well,
if there is no copyright, you can't. There's no. It means it's public domain, and you can do whatever you want with it, including using a commercial. If there is no copyright, like I said, I think that'll change at some point. But right now, it is. It's public. AI art is public domain, at least in the U.S.
I imagine that's gonna pretty much transcend internationally as well, because we're kind of the I don't want to call us the king, but we're kind of the leading cause of most media production in the world, and we typically countries kind of follow our suit.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, like, when it comes to educational articles, all articles produced on an educational standard, about 80% of them are either in English or translated to English within a year.
Right.
So like that's kind of the thing that we do. These are really impressive, by the way. If you guys have been
Yeah,
watching
I can
the
kind of
YouTube-
see them.
Yeah, if you've been watching like
They're like fading in and out.
yeah, it's because the background's kind of in front of me.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, like what we're watching, you can see it.
Hey, I got to get ready to go. I got to get my kid in the
I say
tub.
we call it. This has been fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
do it
man.
again.
Appreciate you joining, man.
Sorry
Yeah.
about the person that came in crazily and started playing some weird stuff. I think I muted it in time that we're gonna be okay. And
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
YouTube is
I mean,
aware
it's
of people
fine.
that
It's
troll.
trolls,
so,
bro.
yeah, it's just
So
happens.
I just want them to subscribe to the channel, bro. Don't just do that in bail.
Well, if
so-
anybody's curious about what I've been playing in the background, since I don't have to worry about it being copyrighted, I'm not worried about it being stricken for YouTube, but we've been commenting on it anyway. OpenAI.com/index/Sora. Sora is the name of the company, or the partnership with OpenAI for text-to-video creation that Toys R Us used to make their commercial. And they have some pretty neat stuff, as I've been kind of showing in the background, of video to text of things that have been happening. They're pretty neat. Some of them you can, if you pay attention to the details, you'll undoubtedly see the glitches of things where people have like an extra digit or something like that. But some of these are almost indistinguishable. I genuinely couldn't tell if it wasn't like a really good camera, maybe some editing, or AI, which is impressive. So in this case, there's sharks in a big city, so we can pretty much assume this one's not real, but you know, maybe. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hey Phantom, thanks for joining and recommending that we have a hangout session. Maybe we'll have another one in the future. And if anyone joined in that didn't want to come and bomb the show, you're welcome to come and hang out with us or have a debate with us and express your opinions, as long as you do so in a mildly YouTube appropriate manner. But that's it.